On this week's show, can Dumbo soar to new heights at the box office? Apple's new entertainment programs pique our interest, and will the magic return for Gearbox with Borderlands 3? All this and more as we reach our next stop, the PCC Multiverse. And we're back with another episode of the PCC Multiverse. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great pop culture programs. But it wouldn't be a PCC Multiverse without my good friend. He is our Dumbo Flyer from Humanica Media. You gotta listen to everything that's going on today at humanicamedia.com, Humanica Media on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and so much more. It is my good friend. It is Josh Peterson. Dumbo's flying high once again, but how high? We're going to be talking about that at the back end of the show.
What's up? What's up, man? I was going to make a joke about my ears, but then you kind of stepped on my punchline, so thank you for that.
Wouldn't be the first time. We were not even planning that, but you know what? I was psychic. I read your mind. I already saw that, and I just, you know what? I decided to go ahead and step in there with my own one-liner on Dumbo myself. But it is going to be a great show we've got for you today. We will be talking more about Dumbo, where it fits as far as what Disney is trying to put out there with all that's going on in Disney. Is this going to be a movie that I guess gets maybe ignored by the general public out there? Is it going to get swept under the rug? Does it have a real chance? And where does it stand among all the live action entries ones we've seen last year and ones we're going to be seeing coming up? We're going to be talking about that at the back end of the show. Plus also as well, Tony Monroy from Game Source. He's going to join us in the middle of the show talking about all the great things that Apple was talking about earlier this week as far as they finally brought out some entertainment things, entertainment options that they finally introduced out there to the public that are on the way, including Apple Arcade and Apple Plus as far as a TV service is concerned, and Apple Arcade Gaming. We're going to talk about that, if that's a good thing or if we have some concerns about that. We're going to share our thoughts, both Josh, Tony, and I, coming up in the middle of the program as well. But first, my friend, I know there's a lot to talk about out there in pop culture and a lot of other stuff that was going on. Angelina Jolie getting signed up for the Eternals. I know that sparked a lot of interest out there. I know those Avenger posters got everybody going off as far as who's going to live, who lived, and who died. I know a lot of people were surprised to find out that officially Shuri did succumb to the snap that was out there, the decimation as they call it. I know a lot of people were actually talking a lot about that, and also the fact that Valkyrie is probably going to be a player in the movie coming up, Avengers Endgame. So a lot of people are looking forward to that. But can I ask you a question before we go on to our first topic? When it comes to the Avengers posters, my friend, where was Heimdall and where was Maria Hill?
Heimdall. Oh, you're right. Yeah,
because they wanted to make it perfectly balanced. That's what they tried to do, but unfortunately, it was too. They
Maria Hill. She snapped. I thought.
Yeah, that's right. But she wasn't given a poster, so all the movies she's been in, I guess she's not an important enough character.
Oh, because the Avenge the Fallen thing. Gotcha. Did they?
And same thing with Heimdall. Same thing with Idris Elba's character.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, because there's some people in the poster who are still alive that I wouldn't have assumed would be of any importance in the movie, but they're in there still.
Like Happy Hogan, for instance.
Right, but Wong's in there, like he in the poster, so I don't know like what part he's going to play. I don't know what the rhyme or reason is to their poster creation. I saw something cool the other day. Somebody took the Defenders and put them on the Avenge the Fallen posters, which was pretty cool. So I don't know what their thinking is behind this.
Well, I've got a thing for you to ask you on the air, my friend. Can you go ahead and Photoshop our icon, our little Mr. Thumbs Up? Can you go ahead and make him part of that's decimated and actually put him in black and white with Avenge the Fallen?
Of course, I'll just snap this this video right here and then throw it up there.
That'd be awesome. That'd be great for our Facebook page, which you can check out. And also, hopefully, if you follow and like us on our Facebook page, you can go out and check the latest and greatest in pop culture news and information, plus also the information of all the great shows. But that would be a cool profile pic right there. Have our Mr. Thumbs Up guy that, you know what, he needs to be avenged as well. But,
oh, I was going to say, yeah, Mr. Thumbs Up guy. Yeah, sounds good.
All right, my friend. But yes, it is going to be a great show. But first off, I know I can't delay it anymore. I know you've been excited about it for several days, and the announcement was finally officially made in that Gearbox at PAX. I believe it's PAX West that they went ahead and announced that Gearbox 3 is official. It is something that was widely rumored, widely speculated, and actually PAX East, I'm sorry, PAX East, that Gearbox 3 was announced. And you know what? It's something that a lot of people were speculating, anticipating, and it was just a matter of time before Gearbox 3 was announced. Your initial thoughts seeing the trailer that we actually have posted on our Game Source Facebook page that, you know, a lot of people are actually looking into. And is it on our popculturecosmos.com site as well?
Yeah, it's up on our Pop Culture Cosmos site, www.popculturecosmos.com. You can catch all the trailers as well as a complete breakdown of what was talked about at the press conference.
So tell me your thoughts as far as, first off, about the trailer itself before we get into the press conference that was made by the folks at Gearbox, because I've got some things to say about Gearbox and its overall health coming up later. But first off, your initial excitement and anticipation over what's coming up with Gearbox, with Borderlands 3.
Are you going to get all gloom and doom on us over Gearbox?
No, there's a reality to their situation, and you know, Borderlands 3. Well, like I said, let's talk about that in a sec. But let's talk about your thoughts on the trailer.
It looks cool. I love the introduction of the new vehicles to play as. I love how they tied all the Borderlands mythology together. So you play as like Reese from Tales from the Borderlands, and they had Scooter was peculiarly absent from the trailer. So I don't know. Hopefully he's still in the game. He's one of my favorite characters. But
Jack was in there too, correct?
No, I don't know. I don't think so, because he's dead. They said they made a big deal about that before they went up on stage, or while they're up on stage talking about
it. It looked like someone like Jack, so it was my bad.
Well, a lot of the characters do. One of the Vault Hunters does look like an older Jack, so that's curious. But yeah, no, the big complaint I'm hearing is that people want to be able to play as older Borderlands characters, because you notice how they showed Tiny Tina doing the high five. I don't know why they felt the need to show Brick playing the saxophone for a whole minute, but no, the gameplay looks cool. The environments look cool too, because it looks like we're breaking out of that wasteland feel, and you see the city in there, how
that futuristic city looking deal. I like that.
I'm curious what that's going to be like. Again, I love the new vehicles, and over 1 billion guns is absolutely ridiculous. What the trailer was missing was Claptrap. They showed him briefly being electrocuted or whatever. He's stuck to that little circle, but there wasn't really a lot of Claptrap, and that's the staple of Borderlands. But it looks like this one has as we were discussing earlier, this one has a more darker narrative to it. You know, because it actually has a villain. It looks like it has villains that aren't jokes. So like you know, Handsome Jack was always he was sarcastic. He was evil, but he was sarcastic. Whereas these two villains, whoever they are, brother, sister, husband, wife, whatever they are, they look to be a little more serious. Like there's something more at stake in this game. And I'm curious how that's going to play out. I'm also curious how much of this game had the influence of the former writer that left the project, I want to say a couple years ago.
And that's something I wanted to ask you. And I know you'd mentioned it on social media as well beforehand. And that is the fact that, you know, you said the writer has one of the main writers has left Gearbox some time ago. to me, one of the best things about Borderlands 1 and 2, yes, obviously the infant, almost the seemingly infinite amount of guns that you could collect as far as the different types, the different damage that it can do, and you drop one, grab another, drop one, grab another. Seemingly, there are cool ones each and every time that you can pick one up. But to me, the backbone of Borderlands 1 and 2 is the story and the writing and the dialogue. The funny dialogue and the interplay, claptrap, of course, but the in between the characters themselves, the personalities that was put and bred into them as far as the hard work that the folks at Gearbox did to create that environment. The writing to me is just so important to the Borderlands 1 and 2 mix, making those games so special. What are your fears coming up in regards to Borderland 3? And like you said, because it has, in what appearances, by all appearances, a much darker tone, how could that affect the overall game as it were, as far as possibly going into a wrong direction because the writing may not be there as well as it was in Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2?
Well, that's a good question. I don't really fear that the writing is going to be lacking anything because look at Tales from the Borderlands, right? That was a Telltale game, and that was narratively pleasing to me, and it wasn't written by the original Borderlands writers. So it, I don't think that Gearbox is going to go into. They can't risk putting out such a big game and not having a strong writing in it. So the hope would be that there is some remnants of the attitudes and just the way the old characters were portrayed, but at the same time I know that this is a huge deal for them. Like, this is, if this game fails, their prospects are not going to be looking so hot. So this is very important to them. This press conference today, though it was a very sloppy press conference and someone's probably going to get fired for that, it had it was important. There's a lot hinging on it. This is Borderlands is their game. When people think about Gearbox, they think about Borderlands. No one cares about Bulletstorm, Duke Nukem, We Happy Few. When it comes to their flagship is Borderlands, and I don't think that they would go into this without having a decent writer.
Let's hope so, my friend, because like I said, to me, that was the backbone of what made Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2 so special and really fun to play as games, was the fact that it was very well written. The level of detail whenever you went to a new city or a new area just seemed to be there, and it just were games that I really enjoyed playing. No, they weren't the greatest of games, but they were just really fun to play. Just like, I guess what, 8.5, 9 games as far as out of 10 scores for me were in that area for Borderlands 1 and 2, that which made it so enjoyable. And no, they redefine the genre? Excuse me. Did they redefine the genre? No, but they did just enhance it quite a bit with a lot of different varying gameplay. The guns, like we said before, having so many different options and the quirkiness of it was really a lot of fun as well. And the vehicle play, which, like you said, should be enhanced with all the different vehicle options that are going to be there. And similar to the Titans that we see in Titanfall, I think that was an option as well from what I saw, correct?
Yes, I don't know if you can drive them, but as far as the looter shooter goes, as far as I'm concerned, they invented the genre.
Okay, well, that's then okay, if you
I
wanted to
mean,
go ahead.
they are the standard for me. Like,
Okay,
they perfected it in my opinion.
all right. Until they started asking for microtransactions, and then it's all downhill from there,
No,
right?
because all these there's people out there going, well, if they don't make it more like Destiny, it's not going to succeed. That's bull. If you could see the hype going on during that press conference and all the people ringing up the comments on Gearbox and IGN, there's clearly people love this game for what it is. And if they like the size of relief in the room that happened when they announced it wasn't a battle royale game was just immense. There's a lot of popularity for this game, and I think if they changed any aspect of the way that it's played, then it would anger a lot of people.
Well, the one game it doesn't really need to be like is Destiny, because as we've seen with Destiny, Destiny 1 and 2 did not hit the numbers that made Activision happy, and it led to I don't want to say a messy divorce between them and Bungie, but it was something that it should have. They should be working on Destiny 3 right now with Activision if all went well. But obviously, all didn't go well, and it looks like Destiny is not the actual game changer that it once was thought to be. So it doesn't need to be anything like Destiny if it doesn't have to be. It just needs to stay what it needs to be. What was what it needs to be what uh, Borderlands 1 and 2 were and what made those games so great. And as we see with Anthem, which has sold better than what you and I thought it would, and but it's not been the breakout hit, the overwhelming success, but it's still sold pretty good. It's still the number 2 game of the year so far in 2019. So there is a market for those Destiny-ish type games, but I don't think Borderlands 3 needs to follow down that same path.
No, and again, that would anger a lot of people if they were to go down that road. Borderlands is unique, and I think that's why so many people are drawn to it. It's unique. You can play it with your friends. You don't have to worry about having to be in a constantly online and evolving world because we get enough of that. This is something it's self-contained. You can play with your friends or you can play it by yourself. And that's what's always made this game so great because you can do all those things and still have a great time. And you look at the announcement of Borderlands remaster, the first one being remastered, and it comes out April 4th, I want to say. But everyone's going, I've heard some groaning about people going, oh, it's $30. But think about it this way. Borderlands 1, you could sink hours upon hours upon hours into that game. I would say it takes longer to play through the first Borderlands with all of the DLC included than it does to play through Skyrim. And that's something like there's a lot to be said there. There's a lot of game to be played there, and it's not something where the story is so compelling that you need to play through it. It's just something that you can pick up, have a good time with your friends, play by yourself, and then if something else comes out, you can put it down for a bit and then go back to it. And that's what I've always loved about Borderlands. There's no pressure to marathon it. It's a game that is fun to play no matter what the circumstances are.
You said Borderlands Remastered is coming April 4th at a price tag of $30. Is that correct?
Yeah, $29.99.
Okay, fair enough. I know another $30 game that was announced that's coming, I believe in July, is that new Wolfenstein game that's set in Paris in the 1980s. That looks really cool with the twins of BJ Blazkowicz trying to go ahead and find him. Did you see that video for the new
Yeah, it comes out July 25th. And what's cool about that one, I love Wolfenstein because the writers or I'm having a brain fart. Ubisoft, not Ubisoft. Crap.
Bethesda?
Bethesda. Yeah, sorry. I don't know why it's late, man. So Bethesda was saying that we're gonna keep going back to the BJ story. So this is its own thing. This could be a whole separate timeline that they could keep building upon, but they're not done telling Blazkowicz's story. And that's something that's cool to me is the ability to jump around and still be able to continue storylines of our favorite characters. And that's something I'm excited about when it comes to this game.
As am I. So I think it'd probably be a good value for $30 when it comes out late July for the latest version or latest iteration of the Wolfenstein series. And that's a series that doesn't get old for me. In fact, I'm playing through Wolfenstein. I'm playing through the second Wolfenstein right now as we speak. So I'm just enjoying through that. And I cannot wait to get my hands on the next iteration when it comes out in July. But we're talking about right now, we're talking about what's going on with Borderlands 3. They didn't give a street date, did they, as of yet on it? I don't think they did.
No, they said next week there'd be more or more information, but it feels like this game, it according to Pitchford, it's been in development for 5 years now. And this game needs to come out by holiday, I feel like, because a typical dev cycle, unless you're in Final Fantasy or Nomura territory, a typical dev cycle is usually 5 to 6 years. So this game needs to come out soon. I would say if it doesn't come out by holidays or first quarter of next year, people are just gonna lose interest.
I would agree with you on that. I think it needs to come out this year, 2019. And speaking of which, I think Gearbox needs to have it come out by 2019, because in the time since Borderlands 2 was alive and well on retail shelves, and to the time now, Gearbox has not had any overwhelming successes, to the point where, as a company, Gearbox is not really in a 100% healthy state. Obviously, you and I have at length talked about the troubles of Randy Pitchford, and when you were there today, when you were watching today this press conference, when you were watching the press conference, what were your thoughts as far as seeing Randy Pitchford still being the front man for Gearbox? Do you still think that's a plus or a minus overall for the company?
He seems like the boss that doesn't really have his act together. You can tell by the way he was reacting to some of the stuff going on stage, how he didn't know what was happening, so he's just reacting, and that's not the best way to go about things. And it seems like normally you would practice right before you do a press conference, you'd make sure everything works, and that was something that they didn't do. So, uh, Randy Pitchford, he at what point does he become a liability, especially with all the stuff going on? And at what point do you need some? He had a lot of energy. I'll give him that, and he knows how to get the crowd hyped. But beyond that, is he the best person to be running Gearbox? I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, I don't know. I like him, but I don't like him. If that makes sense.
Hope they check for thumbsticks right around the tables there at the panel
I
rooms. You
was
know what I mean?
I was joking with Brian Kane earlier, and he had made a joke about, I wonder if someone's gonna find his USB drive there, and I joked, wouldn't it be weird if they gave free Borderlands USB drives for every purchase of the game?
I think that would be a great inside joke, or at least they should have done it there. As far as maybe, how they do thumbsticks and USB drives for like
Yeah,
promotion materials, the companies.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
that
the
would have been a
internet
great gig.
companies. What do you think of the Tiny Tina card game?
Well, I think that actually could have potential, as far as that's something obviously to help Gearbox even more. I mean, obviously it's worked for The Witcher. You see, Gwent is doing real well, to the point now it's actually being moved to a mobile format here in the near future, and that has really been actually a surprising aspect of the Witcher experience. So I mean, I don't see it as a minus at all. I think this is something that's not only going to enhance the actual Borderlands world and the Borderlands universe, people will get into it. And if it's done well enough, this could be something that can make a nice chunk of change for Gearbox, as what Gwent has done for CD Projekt Red.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's interesting because it's actually like a physical card game, which is cool because we haven't seen Borderlands really leave the video game format. So,
But
w-
this is like an option that I think Gwent is going to go to at some point in time, is a physical card game, because it's all over PC, it's on the consoles, and now it's going to go to a mobile. I think that's the next step. But it's something that, as a side thing, that has turned out to be, that's gotten a life of its own. And this could be the same thing with what we're talking about with Tiny Tina.
yeah, yeah, that'd be. I'm definitely interested in playing this. I want to find out more about it, and that's it. It's you would think that the next logical step of tabletop games would be to adapt video games,
Well, you and I have
or
been
vice
asking for,
versa.
oh, I'm sorry. You and I have been asking for a Mass Effect tabletop game or a role playing game for some time now, haven't we?
Right, right. But even look at, yeah, yeah, we have. But even look at something like Tides of Numenera, right? That was a tabletop or role playing game, and they adapted that into a video game, and it sold pretty heavily. So there's a lot of cross potential going on that has yet to be realized.
We got to get that game going, man. Either it's Tiny Tina, Stranger Things, D&D, Luminera, something out there. We got to go ahead and one of these days stream it from for the pop culture cosmos.
Down, absolutely down.
It's just a matter of when. Just got to do it when. But it is something that's coming out pretty soon, hopefully in the near future, and that is Borderlands 3. One last question I want to talk to you about when it comes to Borderlands 3, your overall impressions of the game going forward, and what is the major thing that you want them to stick to so that you think will make sure, or that you think will ensure Borderlands 3 be as successful as its previous two iterations? Because we've seen already in the past, in fact, the most recent Tomb Raider, it didn't follow 100% what made the other two so great. So what does Borderlands 3 have to do to go ahead and make sure that Borderlands 3, Gearbox has to do that will make Borderlands 3 just as good as Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2?
It just needs to keep the same mechanic, because Borderlands is a game you like to play with your friends, so they need to keep that mechanic. However they need to, whatever they need to do to build upon that mechanic, they need to do that. And also the vehicle system, I think, is going to be a really cool thing, because allegedly you get to you could ride the skags or fly around on the racks. So that's something that could be cool. Yeah, other than that, though, I would say there's not really a lot that needs to be changed. New environments for sure, which I think they're providing with the cityscape they showed you. More guns. I think people would really like to be able to build their own guns and customize their own characters. I think that would be the only thing that I would add to that. But I know that each of the characters has their own unique story to play through. So who knows? And again, like, I love how they're incorporating all the characters from all the old games. They're kind of bringing the whole franchise together in this game. So I have high expectations for this game, high hopes for this game, but there's not really a lot that they could, as long as it's Borderlands. As long as it's Borderlands, there's not really a lot that I would recommend they change, except maybe improving their systems that they already have in place.
Let's hope that they make sure to go ahead and implement into Borderlands 3 what made Borderlands 1 and 2 so special with gamers. And let's hope Borderlands 3 comes out in 2019 so we can get our hands on it and go ahead and explore the world of Borderlands real soon. What are your thoughts out there on Borderlands 3? Were you excited by the announcement that was made at PAX East? Or did you really want, what were your thoughts on the trailer? Are you excited to go back and delve into the world of Borderlands? Do you like the features as far as all the new guns that are going to be there? Over 1 billion different combinations as far as guns are concerned. Do you like the fact that there's a whole bunch of new vehicles and possibly even the type of Titans that were made famous in Titanfall? You could be in one of those as well. I mean, is it something that interests you, Borderlands 3, as far as a type of loot shooter that is sorely missing right now in today's environment, that it was done so well then and could be done so well again in Borderlands 3? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanity Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. We'd also love to hear your thoughts if Borderlands is the type of game, especially Borderlands 3 obviously coming out, if it's that type of game that you think makes it more fun and entertaining than games out there like Apex Legends and Fortnite, which are probably the evolvement of what Borderlands 1 and Borderlands 2 once was as far as gamers is concerned. All right, my friend, we already talked about Borderlands 3, talked so much about it. It was just truly appreciate you sticking around and talking about it. But right after the break, we have got our good friend Tony Monroy. He's going to be jumping on with us. We're going to be talking about all the great things that Apple announced, including some issues we might have with Apple Arcade, some issues we might have, and some positive things we might have to say about Apple Plus. But also, this goes back to what we were talking about with Google Stadia and your thoughts on these tech giants putting their foot into the entertainment field, and if it's really a good thing. We're going to be talking about that and so much more when it comes to the Apple announcements. Plus, on the back end, we're going to be talking about Dumbo's hopeful success at the box office, but is it hampered by Disney itself? We're going to be talking about that and more. This is the PCC Multiverse. And we're back to close out the show. This is the PCC Multiverse. Want to thank our good friend Tony Monroy from Game Source stopping by to go ahead and share his thoughts on Apple Arcade and Apple Plus television service. If you need a listing of where we're being played at, because we're being played all around the world, 7 days a week on fantastic radio stations and also many different podcast outlets, check out our Facebook page, Pop Culture Cosmos, where you'll also get not only our radio listings and some of our podcast listings, but you also get the most up-to-date news on the world of pop culture, the latest information that's all right there. Plus Game Source, that'll update you on everything going on in the video game world as well. And don't forget, if you like us on our Twitter and Instagram, you'll get a lot of great stuff there too. My friend, you've got a great thing going on with Humanica Media, so share the goods, my friend. What is going on with that great experience known as Humanica Media?
Nothing. There's no new. I know.
I try my hard to set you up for something good, man.
Well, yeah, just there's nothing going on. Topicocalypse, I haven't had time to edit anything, so I'll get to that this weekend, hopefully, and you'll be able to listen to a new episode of that. But for now, you can check out the gaming footage we got up there, and I still have no idea if we're being played on Podcast Radio Network. So just check it out. Stay tuned to the social media pages, and you'll know stuff when we know stuff.
I swear he tells me that you are. So he told me that you are.
I never see any advertisements, man. He never reaches out to me, so I have no idea.
All right, I'll have to hit him up again next week then. All right. And also hopefully check out Topicocalypse today on their great Topicocalypse Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and many other podcast outlets. Plus, also catch all the great things going on at humanicamedia.com, Humanica Media on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and so much more. My friend, before we head on out, again, we just want to go ahead and thank Tony Monroy from Game Source, but there is more to talk about when it comes to pop culture because there was a lot of information this week. But one thing we don't want to miss is that Dumbo, a live-action version, a live-action reimagining from director Tim Burton, has come out this weekend to the box office. It's expected to do somewhere in the neighborhood of $50 million, which is a pretty decent start for many movies out there. But for movies such as Dumbo, that's a live-action adaptation, and it does have a bigger budget than most other movies out there, so it might be considered a little bit on the low end, especially for Disney is concerned. I want to ask you this: with Dumbo coming out this weekend, sandwiched in between so many good movies that are coming out that have come out with Captain Marvel that has already come out, Us, although it's not direct competition, Us, it just came out last weekend. You've got Shazam, which is supposed to also be kind of family-friendly fare as well, coming out next weekend. And then Hellboy, I'm sure we're going to be talking about that in the near future too, because that comes out here in a couple weeks. Your thoughts on Dumbo still managing to find its way through its own market here with Disney? And we'll talk a little bit more in a sec about how it compares with the other live-action Disney movies coming up. But your thoughts on Dumbo finding some success around this time? I'm not sure they're going to find it much out of this after this week, but I want to hear your thoughts if Dumbo can actually find some success out there at the box office.
You know, speaking of Hellboy, I already know how the conversation's going to go. Okay, you ready? It's going to go, well, I really liked it, yada, 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 all the stuff I liked about it. And then you're going to go, well, I don't know, Josh, the box office numbers don't lie. And that's going to be the gist of it. Am I right? Am I leaning in the right direction? Yeah.
No, I'm probably going to give you 20 minutes of I miss Ron Perlman. I miss Ron Perlman.
Well, David Harbour's not bad. We'll have to see what's going on.
But that's one thing I want to know before you and I go see it. I mean, that's one thing we're going to be trying to extrapolate from it is, I mean, it's the obvious comparison. How is David Harbour going to compare to the outstanding performance that Ron Perlman gave? Because Ron Perlman, to me, was the embodiment and vision, what I envisioned as Hellboy. David Harbour looks pretty good in the role, but I'm not sure if he's going to get it quite done as to the level. I'm not sure he has that snarkiness. Do you know what I'm saying? But that, again, is for another day.
Save for another show.
Yeah, see, that's how much Dumbo is right now influencing us, because it just seems almost like an afterthought to even Disney itself.
Yeah, well, it feels like Pete's Dragon. Pete's Dragon.
Christopher Robin, too.
Christopher Robin, I mean, Pete's Dragon, Christopher Robin, both very good movies. I really enjoyed them. But Dumbo is just, it's one of those properties that, it has been brought out of the vault in a while and no one really talks about it that much. It's not something that people are like, you know what, I really love a live action Dumbo film, especially in the midst of, these bigger epic one, not epic, but like these bigger scale movies like Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Mulan's coming out. It just Dumbo seems like a weird.
A Lion King too.
Lion King also. Dumbo just feels like a weird one because it's old. It's a very old movie, and it's not really, when you ask kids what their favorite movie is, very few, if any of them, say Dumbo. So it just feels like a very, I don't know, not weird, but it's just it feels like it doesn't belong here. It feels like it belongs in a time slot, maybe next year sometime, maybe next, like in January or February when Disney doesn't really have a lot of stuff coming out. Then they should put Dumbo out. But for me, it's not something I'm going to see. It's not something I'm excited about seeing. Maybe if I'm forced to watch it at some point, I'll watch it, but I just have no desire, don't really care. Was not, as a kid, it was one of the more depressing Disney movies, so I didn't really watch it that often, but that's just me. Where are you standing on this?
Well, I will watch it eventually because it's Tim Burton. And as a fan of Tim Burton's work over the years, and sometimes his offbeat vision, I kind of want to actually see I want to actually see how he sees the story of Dumbo and how he portrays it on screen. I know it's not getting all the love in the world. It's getting mixed reviews for the most part. Sits right now at a 52 on Metacritic, and I know it's a little bit higher on Rotten Tomatoes, but it's not a whole lot higher. Not enough to say, oh yes, overwhelmingly it's going to be a great movie or anything like that. So I just think it needed to be something that hit it out of the park in order for it to stand out. And unfortunately, it didn't hit it out of the park. It isn't one of Tim Burton's best movies from what we're reading and what I'm seeing online so far. I'm hoping once audiences are able to go ahead and view this weekend, that maybe will change my mind or maybe change a lot of people's minds on how good this movie is, or maybe not. So we'll have to wait and see what the numbers dictate. But yes, to me, it's kind of disappointing that they stuck this here. They almost feels like it's forced in this situation, almost like what A Wrinkle in Time went through. And that's something I want to ask you. Do you think this is 2019's version of A Wrinkle in Time, a movie that basically, has a history with, in that case, A Wrinkle in Time was an outstanding children's book. In this case, it's an outstanding children's story that was put in a situation where it didn't look like financially it was just going to win. It just was going to make out at all.
Yeah, yeah, because it came out, what, in the wake of Black Panther, like, kinda in between Black Panther and Infinity War, if I remember correctly.
Funny how that is. And this is
Yeah,
sitting in
so,
the same exact
like,
spot.
Disney's kinda cannibalizing themselves. That being said, though, I think a lot there was definitely some issue with Wrinkle in Time and how they deviated so far from the book, and I think even the people who saw it came out pretty unhappy with it, so I wonder if the reviews had anything to do with that one not being so great too.
Well, that's the same thing is applying here with the reviews being all mixed and all over the place when it comes to Dumbo, which is a shame because, like I said, I am a Tim Burton fan. I like to see his movies because he has a unique vision. It's different from many other directors and how they perceive their own films. And I was just hoping to see that audiences would take to it, but I'm not sure that's going to be the case. $50 million, a $50 million opening for Dumbo, or for even a live action formula that has worked so well with the Jungle Book and other movies that Disney has brought out, doesn't seem like it's going to be the case this time around, especially with the higher price tag that these Disney movies ultimately have. Now, if it was us last weekend, that $50 million would have been just fine, but we saw us exceeding that and so much more. I don't think we're going to find that's going to be the case with Dumbo, but we'll have to wait and see. One last question I want to talk to you about when it comes to Dumbo and the Disney live action formula. Do you think it's a case where it's too much too soon and they're bringing out these live action formulas, these live action remakes in too quick of a succession, in too quick of a fashion? And maybe they should just slow it down to maybe one or max two a year to maybe help enhance them more, because bringing out 3 or 4 a year really just waters it down so much more and takes away the specialness of these live action reboots.
And I think Disney needs to slow down just in general because they are like, you know, especially with the purchase of Fox, they are monopolizing the industry. There is never a time when there's not a Disney movie out right now, it seems like. And that's something that people are going to get really tired of really quick. You know, say what you want about how great superhero movies are and all that, but the people are going to get tired of Disney as a name. And you know, maybe they won't get tired of the theme parks or the stores or whatever, but people will get tired of Disney's presence in the movie theater, and we're already kind of starting to see that.
Absolutely. I know audiences already are gearing up to see Avengers Endgame because the hype train, I mean, you and I are on it. We've already stepped on it. So we're already there when it comes to that movie. And I think a lot of people are looking forward to that. Maybe they'll give love to Shazam. Maybe they'll even give love to Dumbo, but we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully they'll give some love to Hellboy as well. But with all signs pointing towards Avengers Endgame, it's going to be hard for the next few weeks for movies like Dumbo, Shazam, and Hellboy to find a large audience with so many people looking forward to Avengers Endgame. What are your thoughts out there on Dumbo? Do you think it will do well this weekend at the box office? Do you think it's something you want to take the kids to see, or is this something that you're going to wait for the home video, the streaming, or the Redbox version, or when it comes to Disney Plus ultimately later this year? Share us your thoughts, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanica Media, and Game Source on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. My friend, before we head on out, I want to make sure everyone knows, once again, we're going to be just telling you each and every time we're out that we've got some great stuff coming out in the latter month of April. You're going to be out here in Vegas, my friend, because we got 2 great events that we're going to be a part of that a lot of friends as well of ours are going to be there helping us out. One's for charity and one's just for us having a great time.
Yeah, that's right. So one's one's for charity at Retro City Games, the other one's at the Level Up Expo. So that's pretty exciting. Come check us out. We got a panel going on, and we're happy to answer any questions you might have, or even if you just want a selfie with Gerald himself, he will be there with the famous thumbs up.
Don't forget Mr. Josh Show right there as well. If they want to go ahead and stroke that beard of yours, they're probably going to go ahead and say, you know what, Josh, I need a selfie with the man with the beard himself.
I'll even like the basketball jersey cards, I'll even pluck out a hair and I'll tape it to the autograph for you.
Well, I didn't need you to go that far, but okay. All right.
Yeah,
Whatever floats your boat, my friend.
You opened the door, man. I just
walked right in.
I stumbled into it.
There you go. There you go. Once again, it is Pop Culture Cosmos. We're going to be at Retro City Games. We're going to be hosting a big time charity event and video game tournament with games such as Apex Legends, Fortnite, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and also Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. That is Thursday night, April 25th, 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. at Retro City Games in Henderson, Nevada. We hope you be there. All proceeds will be going to 3 Square of Las Vegas, the UMC Children's Hospital, and Make-A-Wish of Southern Nevada. And then on the 27th, it's going to be an awesome time because Josh and I are going to be heading up a great panel with our good friends from Game Source, Topicocalypse, Retro City Games, Go Brothers Gaming, Mario Party Wars, Vedius, Hyperschmidt are going to be there playing their music. So it's going to be a great time from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. On Saturday, April 27th. We're going to be talking some great things, including Avengers Endgame and all the great games that are coming around that time, including Days Gone and Mortal Kombat 11. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a live recording of our show that we're going to be posting that Monday on the Pop Culture Cosmos show. So we hope you'll be part of it. That's from 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Saturday, April 27th. We're going to have a great time. For ticket information, just go to Level Up Expo, LVLUPEXPO, and be part of the fun. It's a great weekend of pop culture at the Level Up Expo. That's Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So you want to get a 3-day pass there or a 1-day pass to just be part of our awesome panel coming up at the Level Up Expo. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the PCC Multiverse. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.